People of Reddit, what is the stupidest way you found out someone cheated on you? I'll start. I once found out my ex was cheating when she accidentally sent me a selfie meant for her other guy. It was around 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, and I was settling in for the night when my phone buzzed with a message from her. She had been acting a little distant lately, but I figured it was just stress from work. So when I got that text, I felt a little relieved to hear from her. That is, until I opened it. It was a selfie of her in a fancy dress, hair all done up, looking way too put together for someone who had earlier told me she wasn't feeling well and was planning to stay in for the night. The caption? "Can't wait to see you tonight." Followed by a wink emoji. My stomach dropped. I stared at the message for a good 5 minutes before replying, I think this was meant for someone else? There was no response for what felt like forever. She finally texted back hours later with some half-baked excuse about how it was a joke. Needless to say, we had to talk the next day, and she didn't even deny it, just tried to spin it like I was overreacting. So yeah, that's how I found out. Now let me hear your stories. Story 1. This one still gets under my skin, and it's been years. My boyfriend at the time was someone I thought I could trust with anything. We'd been dating for 2 years and shared everything, inside jokes, daily routines, and a ton of sweet, good morning texts to start our days. One day, I wake up to my usual morning text from him, or at least I thought it was. I didn't think anything of it at first, until I actually read the message carefully. It said, "Good morning, beautiful. I had the best time with you last night. I can't wait for round 2, wink emoji." My first reaction was confusion, because I sure as hell didn't see him the night before. We hadn't even spoken much that day, because he said he was working late. I asked him, "Are you sure this text was meant for me?" His response was a bunch of scrambling, claiming he was just trying to roleplay and spice things up. He even tried to play it off as if I was being too uptight for not getting the joke. But it didn't take a genius to figure out that he wasn't role-playing with me. After a lot of back and forth, I eventually found out he was seeing another girl on the side, someone he met at his job. Turns out, those late-night shifts were more than just working overtime. OP says, I gotta hand it to him, pulling out the role-playing excuse like it was some revolutionary relationship-saving tactic. What was next? A plot twist where he's secretly auditioning for Worst Boyfriend, the movie? Honestly, if he was that bad at acting, I'd hate to see him in a soap opera. Might be time to try my own role-playing. The ex-girlfriend who didn't get cheated on sounds like a solid script. Story 2. So, this one's a bit embarrassing for me, but here it goes. My ex was a huge gamer, and we would play this MMORPG together almost every night. It was kind of our bonding thing. Anyway, one night I decided to log on while he was supposedly grinding to level up his character. I figured I'd surprise him by helping out. Well, when I joined the game, I noticed he was in a private lobby with another player, someone whose name I didn't recognize. Out of curiosity, I joined the lobby. That's when I realized he didn't know I was there, and I could hear their conversation over voice chat. The girl he was playing with kept calling him babe, talking about how excited she was for their weekend getaway and asking him if he'd booked the hotel yet. My heart sank. I didn't say anything right away. Instead, I waited for him to come over to my place the next day. When I finally confronted him about it, he tried to gaslight me, saying, "It's just a game, babe. It's not real life. It doesn't count." I think he genuinely thought that since it was happening online, it didn't qualify as cheating. But when he realized I wasn't buying it, he admitted he'd been talking to this girl for months, and that their weekend getaway was happening in real life too. He actually expected me to forgive him because, according to him, it's not like we were married or anything. Yeah, that was the end of that relationship. OP says, oh man, the classic "it's just a game" excuse, because every healthy relationship is built on high scores and secret missions. Maybe he thought he was earning bonus points in real life? What was the final boss, a functioning relationship? Too bad he's been stuck on the tutorial level of loyalty. Next time you catch someone with wandering thumbs, just hit them with a respawn as a better partner. Story 3. This might sound like something out of a sitcom, but I swear it's true. One night, I decided to surprise my girlfriend with a pizza from her favorite spot. She had mentioned earlier that she was staying in for the night to get some work done, and I thought I'd be the sweet, thoughtful boyfriend by bringing her a hot dinner. When I called the pizza place to place my order, the guy on the phone said, "Oh, this address again? I just delivered there like 15 minutes ago." That was odd, because I knew my girlfriend hadn't ordered anything, or at least, I thought I knew. So I asked him, just out of curiosity, who was the last order under? And he said, oh, it was for a guy named Mike. I'm sitting there like, who the hell is Mike? I drove over to her place anyway, pizza in hand, just to see what was going on. When I got there, sure enough, there's Mike, sitting on the couch with her, a half-eaten pizza in front of him. The look on her face when she saw me walk in? Priceless. She tried to laugh it off and said Mike was just a friend, but you don't sit that close to just a friend while eating pizza in your pajamas, you know? I left the pizza on the table and walked out. I wasn't sticking around to see what their second course was. OP says, the just a friend excuse is truly the Swiss Army knife of cheating stories. They'll cut you deep with it, but act like they're just using it to open a bottle of trust. Sure, and I'm just ordering pizza for the salad. People always forget the golden rule of relationships: friends don't let friends cheat on their partners. I hope he and his friend ended up real cozy in the friend zone. Story 4. I never thought I'd say this, but Netflix ruined my relationship. My ex and I had been dating for over a year, and everything seemed pretty normal between us, or so I thought. We shared a Netflix account and had this cute routine of watching shows together on weekends. One day, I was browsing our recently watched list to find where we'd left off on our current show. That's when I noticed something strange. There were a bunch of romantic comedies in the list that I had never seen before. Now, my ex wasn't the type to watch rom-coms either, so I figured maybe one of our friends had used our account. But the weird thing was, these weren't just random rom-coms, they were all the cheesy, lovey-dovey kind that he used to mock. I asked him about it casually, and he brushed it off, saying he hadn't watched them either. My gut told me something was off, so I did a little digging. Turns out, while he was supposed to be working late, he had actually been having movie nights with another girl. The kicker? They'd been watching these movies on my Netflix account, in my apartment, when I wasn't home. When I confronted him, he tried to say it didn't mean anything, because it's just movies. Yeah, sure. Movies, in my apartment, on my couch, with another girl? I'm not buying it. OP says, there's a special place in relationship hell for people who not only cheat, but also try to sneak your Netflix into their lies. I mean, have some decency, don't drag the poor streaming service into this. What's worse, them cheating, or the possibility they're still using your account to binge-watch Bridgerton with someone else? Please tell me you changed your password to something like Cheaters Never Prosper 123. Story 5. I swear to you, I found out my ex was cheating through a crossword puzzle. My ex and I had this morning routine where we'd do the daily crossword together while drinking coffee. It was one of those cute couple things we'd been doing for months. One morning, we were sitting at the kitchen table, and the crossword was harder than usual. We were stumped on a clue for the word affair, and I jokingly said, haha, imagine if one of us was having an affair. I expected him to laugh it off or make a joke in return. Instead, he went completely silent. He didn't look at me, he didn't even acknowledge the joke. His sudden silence was deafening, and I immediately felt like something was off. I looked up from the paper and saw that his face had gone pale. It was like he was trying to avoid eye contact at all costs. I asked, what's wrong? And he just mumbled something about being tired. I let it go for a while, but the rest of the day, he acted like a deer caught in headlights. By the evening, I couldn't take the awkwardness anymore and asked him directly, are you seeing someone else? That's when he broke down and confessed. Apparently, he'd been seeing someone for a few weeks, and my dumb crossword joke hit a little too close to home. The irony of it all? The word affair was the clue that unraveled everything. OP says, honestly, if he got busted by a crossword puzzle, the universe was basically screaming for you to dump him. A guy who cheats and isn't even clever about it. Come on. He thought he was so slick with his solving puzzles excuse, but it sounds like he didn't know a 4-letter word for stupid. Spoiler alert, it's him. Crossword puzzles are supposed to challenge your brain, not your relationship status. Hopefully, you've moved on to more fulfilling hobbies, like not dating jerks. Story 6. This was hands down the dumbest way I could have ever found out someone was cheating on me. My ex had a habit of posting on Snapchat all the time, but she always claimed to be super careful about what she posted because she didn't want to share private moments with too many people. Anyway, one Friday night, she told me she was going out with her girlfriends for a girls' night out. No big deal, right? I stayed home, watching TV and relaxing, until I get a notification that she'd posted a new Snapchat story. I open it up, expecting to see her with her friends at a bar or something. Instead, it's a selfie of her and some dude, in bed, half naked. My jaw literally dropped. The caption was something like, love waking up to this face. What really stung was that she had posted it on her public story, which meant all of her friends, and me, could see it. It took her all of 2 minutes to delete it, but by then it was too late, I had already seen it. I texted her asking who the guy was, and she blocked me on every platform right after. Smooth move. OP says, she posted the other guy on her public story and then blocked you after you called her out? That's like robbing a bank and leaving your ID at the scene. Then, instead of running, she just went, nope, not my problem, and hit the block button like it was some magical reset. Gotta admire the efficiency, though. It's like she thought disappearing you off her social media would make the whole situation disappear. Smooth move, until she realized deleting your guilt doesn't delete the truth. Story 7. So, this is kind of weird, but I think my cat knew my girlfriend was cheating before I did. My cat had always been super affectionate, especially with me, but for some reason, she never really liked my girlfriend. I always chalked it up to jealousy or whatever, since cats can be weird like that. Whenever my girlfriend came over, the cat would hide under the bed or hiss at her for no reason. But then things got even stranger. Every time I left my girlfriend alone at my place to run errands, the cat would start acting really anxious when I got back. She'd follow me around like a shadow, meowing and rubbing against my legs, like she was trying to tell me something. At first, I didn't think much of it, but one day I forgot my wallet and came back home 10 minutes after I left. I walked in the door, and there she was, my girlfriend, on the couch with some other guy. They both jumped up like they'd seen a ghost. The cat was sitting on the back of the couch, hissing like crazy. Turns out, they'd been hooking up at my place for a while, and I had no idea. I guess my cat did, though. OP says, your cat's intuition is stronger than most people's detective skills. Like, forget trust your gut, it's more like trust your cat. She was giving you the yo, something's fishy here warning every time your girlfriend walked in, and you were too busy being a good boyfriend to notice. The cat was just sitting there like, bro, I'm giving you all the signs, and you're ignoring me? Do I have to spell it out with my litter box? Turns out, cats really do have 9 lives, and one of them is spent moonlighting as your relationship counselor. Story 8. This one is a bit high-tech, but it's also incredibly dumb. So, I wear an Apple Watch to track my workouts, and one day my girlfriend asked if she could borrow it to track her sleep, because she'd been having some insomnia issues. I thought it was a little odd, but I didn't think too much of it, so I let her use it. The next morning, I synced the watch back up with my phone to check the data. As I was going through the sleep tracking info, I noticed something weird. There were heart rate spikes and drops during the middle of the night, around 2 a.m. But it wasn't the kind of heart rate that comes from tossing and turning. It looked more like a workout, if you catch my drift. I asked her about it casually, and she just laughed it off, saying she must have had a weird dream, but my gut was telling me something was off. I kept an eye on the watch data for the next few nights, and every time she borrowed it, the same thing happened, crazy heart rate spikes in the middle of the night. I confronted her about it again, and that's when she finally admitted that she'd been hooking up with her gym buddy after hours. Apparently, they weren't doing much sleeping at all. OP says, the Apple Watch betrayed her faster than any private investigator could. You gotta love technology. 1 minute it's tracking your steps, and the next, it's tracking your cheating girlfriend's nighttime workouts. She thought she was being sneaky, borrowing your watch for sleep data, but didn't realize she was uploading her guilt straight into your phone. I mean, come on, those heart rate spikes were about as subtle as a fireworks show. Next time someone wants to borrow your tech, just tell them, I'll sleep on it, alone. Story 9. This one feels like something straight out of a soap opera. So, my girlfriend and I had been dating for about a year, and things seemed pretty solid. But one night, while we were, in the middle of you know what, she moaned a name that wasn't mine. At first, I thought maybe I had misheard her, but then she said it again, clear as day. I stopped and looked at her, totally confused, and asked, who the frick is Paul? Which is a fake name for the story by the way. She went completely silent and just stared at me with this horrified look on her face. She tried to play it off as a joke, saying she was just messing with me, but the look of guilt was all over her face. I wasn't buying it. After a few minutes of awkward silence, she finally admitted that she had been seeing another guy for a couple of months, and that she didn't mean for it to happen. So yeah, finding out in the middle of, that was one of the most awkward and painful moments of my life. OP says, man, that's the kind of plot twist that would make even the worst rom-com writers wince. Imagine thinking you're in a cozy moment, then suddenly getting hit with a name that isn't even in the cast list. Like, excuse me, but I don't remember auditioning for the role of oblivious boyfriend number 1 in this drama. Honestly, props to you for stopping right then and there. Some people might have tried to rewrite the script, but sometimes you just gotta walk off set and leave the bad actors behind. Last story. This one still blows my mind. So my girlfriend and I were at a big family barbecue at her place, and we'd been dating for almost 2 years at this point. We were going around talking to relatives, eating, just having a good time, when out of nowhere, her aunt, who had been drinking a little too much, casually asks, so, how are you and cheating partner's name doing? The whole room went dead silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing and just stared. My girlfriend's face turned beet red, and she didn't say a word. At first, I thought it was just a drunk mistake, but then her aunt kept going, saying things like, oh, you two make such a cute couple. I stood there frozen, trying to process what was happening. My girlfriend grabbed her aunt and dragged her to another room, but by that point, the damage was done. Her family knew, and now I did too. I later found out she'd been seeing this other guy for almost 6 months, and her aunt had just assumed everyone knew about it. I still can't believe that's how I found out. OP says, nothing says happy family barbecue like your drunk aunt spilling all the beans about your girlfriend's secret love life. It's like she was hired as the plot device to reveal the scandal and just couldn't wait for the commercial break. I mean, there you are, thinking you're just enjoying some ribs, and suddenly you're in the middle of a live-action telenovela. You gotta appreciate the dramatic timing, though. Her aunt should seriously consider a career in scriptwriting. You, on the other hand, should consider a permanent vacation from that relationship. That's the end of this video. Do you have a story like this or know someone that does? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button to stay updated on stories like this. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.